This is the first story that I've actually gotten permission from the guy to talk about it. One of the first times I think I've ever asked a guy out on a date. I was just like reading these texts because I was really curious how this went. Obviously a guy can like not be into me, like, and it doesn't mean that he's gay. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Lo, and I'm back with another Fella Friday video. So Fella Friday is the series on my channel where I talk about a different kind of fella or boy each Friday that I've encountered in my dating life. So yeah, let's jump right in. Today's story is like a little bit more fun and lighthearted. I like to like switch off the ones where I'm actually hurt and the ones that are just a little bit more fun. So today's story is about the gay guy, which it's probably kind of an interesting story. This is the first story that I've actually gotten permission from the guy to talk about it because I still like hang out with him, so it's pretty good for once. So for this story, the beginning, we have to jump all the way back to 2015, the summer. I was living in Switzerland at the time, but I was in Amsterdam over the summer, and I was hanging out with a friend of mine who was also here over the summer, and she had an older brother, and basically like we hung out with her older brother and his friends a lot, like that summer. So we hang out with this friends group and I meet this guy named Mark. Let's just name him, totally random name. So he was like one of her friends and one of her older brother's friends. So I meet him and immediately I'm like, oh my god, this guy is really cute. Plus, like, I'm in high school, I am in the summer between my junior and senior year, and he's in college. He was doing something health related, so I was like super interested in that, so we really got to like talking about that, and I was like, oh my god, like I want a college boy, like they're so much more mature, they're like so great. So we really like hit it off, and he was always really friendly to me. Like he would always just like invite me. I remember like one night we were hanging out and my friend had like already gone to sleep because she had an internship, and he like invited me to come hang out with them. Like he just like always was super nice to me. But for me, that kind of felt like, oh, he's always like being super nice to me, like maybe he's like reaching out, maybe he's interested. So I kind of felt like there was always like we had like a really good vibe going. I don't think it was necessarily like super flirty. I definitely wasn't as like outspokenly flirty when I was, how old was I? When I was 17. So yeah, so that was basically how things started, how I met him. And then when I think, yeah, that was like in the summer, and in October I was going back to Amsterdam for college visits. So I was here and I was like, you know, I talked to my friend about it and I was like, you know what, fuck it, like I am just gonna send this guy a message, like if he wants to grab a drink, you know, be bold, whatever. And this was like one of the first times I think I've ever asked a guy out on a date. So and in the meantime, like in these couple months, I was like always saying to my friend, like, oh my god, he's the perfect guy, like I really like him, like he would be the perfect boyfriend. Like this college guy, I was super into him, like falling in love, not obviously like really in love, but like in my head I was. So I asked him to grab a drink and he was totally down. He was like, yeah, sure, I'll pick like a nice place and we can grab a drink, like it'd be good to catch up, and like you can tell me about your college visits, stuff like that. I'm actually gonna see, maybe I still even have the messages. That would be so funny. Hold on. Wait, I have the messages. So this is kind of how the conversation between us started. Sorry, I'm jumping around a lot because I don't like completely remember the story because it's so long ago. But basically in the summer, I texted him that like, thank you like for letting me stay, because we stayed over at their house as well. So I was like, oh, thank you for letting me stay over at your house. I don't have your number, but I said, oh, maybe like we can hang out sometime when I'm back in Amsterdam. And he was like, yeah, no worries, like I thought it was really fun, like when you're back in Amsterdam, like you should swing by. Are you back in Switzerland? So we kind of like were just talking a little bit about like me being back in Zurich, and then I just like gave him my number, and he like never replied to that, but like not in a mean way, like the conversation just kind of ended. So then in October I had the text, I said, hey, hopefully everything's like good with you. I'm like happen to be close to your house in Amsterdam tomorrow. If you have time, maybe you want to like grab a drink. And he's like, yeah, like sounds fun, what time? I was like, yeah, is like in the night okay, like that's a little bit better for me. And he says, yeah, like around 8 o'clock is good. So I said, yeah, sure. And he said like, oh, I can ask like if my roommate is like free as well. And I like didn't really like replied about it all. I was just like, oh yeah, 8 o'clock is fine, like let me know like where in the city. And he was like, okay, I'm gonna like think of something. Because I still remember where we went to Café de Paris, cute bar in Amsterdam. So anyway, okay, long story short, I was just like reading these texts because I was really curious how this went. So I like go there, I'm like super nervous. This was like one of my first dates after like my first real relationship. And I like was going on a date with a college boy, so obviously I was like, oh my god, like this is so special. So we meet up at the bar and we have a super good time. Like honestly, it's like it was a really good like first date. Like we did not have anything like any lulls or any silences or any periods where we like didn't know what to talk about. Like we had like nice banter, and I feel like that was always good between us. Like we could really like talk. So yeah, I think we had like a couple drinks, and afterwards like he was like, yeah, I should be getting home, and I was like, yeah, I should be getting back to my hotel because I was with my mom for like college trips. And he was like, yeah, sure, I'll walk you to the tram. So he walks me to the tram, so I was like, oh, what a gentleman, this college guy is walking me to a tram, and high school boys don't even text you back. What was I thinking? So we're like at the tram stop. He's like waiting with me till the tram comes. We're still kind of talking, and we keep like inching closer together. So at that point I'm like, oh my god, like is he gonna kiss me? Like it was such a vibe, like we should kiss right now, but like it just like wasn't happening. So at a certain point the tram comes, and I was like way too shy to make the first move, and he didn't make a move either. So the tram comes, I get in, I'm like, he hugs me, and I'm like, oh bye, like I had such a good time. So yeah, so that happened. So I was like super confused because I felt like it was a really good date, and I felt like there was such a like vibe, like we should kiss right now. But not like, okay, not like a spark, like oh my god, I really want to kiss you, but more like this is the perfect ending of the night to like kiss. I don't know if you guys know what I mean. Like there's a difference. Sometimes there's like a spark, like I really need to kiss someone, and sometimes it's more like, wow, this was a good date, we should kiss. It was more that vibe. So I'm going through my messages again. So apparently like later in October I was in Amsterdam again, and I asked him to grab another drink, and he was like, oh hey, so I totally forgot, I like have a concert or something, I like can't go. So I was like, oh no, like that sucks. He said, are you back in November? I'm like, no, I'm not. He's like, December. I'm like, yeah, I'll be here around Christmas. And he was like, oh well, I'm here around Christmas too, so then maybe we can hang out then. So then we had like a little bit of a talk, and I see now in like December as well, we had like a couple like texts back and forth about hanging out, but we didn't hang out again either. So that was kind of it. And I was like really confused because I really liked him, and I kind of like hyped it up in my head. So I don't know, what I remember about this time is that I was like kind of confused because I really thought there was like a vibe, and I thought like, you know, he was always super sweet to me, like wanted to hang out with me even though I was like in high school and whatever, you know. I just like felt like, and he wasn't like that much older. I think he was like 20 around the time. Okay, long story short, I kind of forgot about him, and I started like, me and my ex had all these things in high school and other boys, so it wasn't really that big of a deal. But when I moved to Amsterdam, that friend of mine, she also moved to Amsterdam, and like she still hung out with him. He's like her best friend, so they like hung out all the time. So I would like see him more and more, and like nothing ever happened. Like it was very friendly, and even when I saw him, it was like totally out of my mind. I was like, nothing's ever gonna happen between us. We like tried to go on a date, and it didn't, like obviously he wasn't interested, which is fine. And like I progressively stopped seeing him as like a romantic interest, but more as like friendship. I was like, no, it probably wouldn't work between us like anyway. So I remember like to my 20th birthday party, I invited that friend, and she was like, hey, can I bring him? And I was like, yeah, you know, whatever, like you can bring him. It was a big party, so okay. So he's there, and I remember her like walking up to me, and I was like, I was dating another guy at the time. He was at this party as well, and I was like, hey, like this is the guy I'm dating, like, oh, you should like meet him. And she was like, yeah, no, I really want to meet him, but first I have to tell you something. And I'm like, okay, what did you have to tell me? And she's like, Mark is gay. And I was like, oh, he's gay? So he like I guess like she'd asked him, or they had talked about it. I don't know how that went, but at least like he had like come out to her that he was gay. And I was like, oh my god, like it makes so much more sense now. Not that I'm saying like obviously a guy can like not be into me, like, and it doesn't mean that he's gay, but like there was such a vibe, but just like the kissing part like wasn't there, like the attraction part wasn't there, and so that was why. So, but I never talked to him about this because I like still felt kind of weird about it. I was like, you know, like I felt kind of rejected, like I didn't really want to get into it. But I still saw him like occasionally and stuff like that. And then on my 22nd birthday this year, November, he also came along to my birthday party because my friend had asked me like, hey, can I bring him? And I was like, yeah, of course, like it's always fun to see Mark. So, and I got super drunk, disclaimer. And what do I do when I get super drunk? I like ask really inappropriate questions. So I think I like literally walked up to him and I was like, yeah, oh, I'm so happy you're here, and like, you know, I'm so happy it's not awkward that we like went on a date that one time. And I was like, oh wait, shit, you probably didn't think it was a date because like you're gay. And he like looked at me and he was like, no Lois, it was a date. And I was like, oh my god. So after all these years, like I know for sure now that it was a date. And he told me like how he was feeling, like he felt there was like a vibe and like we vibed well, but he like wasn't sure yet totally if he was like gay. Like he kind of like obviously knew, but like he wasn't really sure. And he said that at the tram as well, he had the same like vibe, like, oh, I should probably kiss her right now, like we should probably kiss, like it was a good date and everything. But he like obviously didn't feel that attraction because I'm not a dude. So yeah, but it was actually like, even though I was drunk, but like everyone was laughing about it, we were laughing about it, and it was actually nice to like have that talk for a second and just be like, oh, okay, so it was a date, but this is why it didn't work out. Not another guy that just rejected me. But yeah, I thought that was kind of a funny story. I don't really have any tips for this. I guess like I have really bad gaydar. Yeah, I guess that's kind of true. But it was just interesting, and obviously no hard feelings, and like good for him for even like trying and figuring out what he likes and what he doesn't like. As long as we're not stringing someone along, and he definitely didn't string me along. Like I said, I think I was really into this idea of like this college guy liking me, and I really went after it. But he obviously, like, we didn't really hang out after that, which is good. Like if we would have gone on a bunch of dates and then later I would have found out, I probably would have been more upset than that we had like one date and it just didn't work out because of that reason. So yeah, I thought this was kind of a funny story. I hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said, no tips really for this one, except maybe have some better gaydar than I do. But yeah, I will be back again next week with another Fella Friday video. So please leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys next week. Bye!